This guy, and he is a good man who loves this nation. I mean, he loves our military, our law enforcement. He loves the country, and he loves the regular people, regular ordinary folks like all of us who make the country special in the first place. And no one has done more of what they said they would do than this guy. No one has accomplished more in a first-term president than in my lifetime than President Trump. So thank you for helping him. He's a good man. Well, you're kind. Thank you. I was thinking, back in second grade, I had life figured out. You know how you are when you're in grade school. You got all the answers. What was Mark Twain had a great line. He said, when I was 10, my dad knew everything. When I was 20, he didn't know much of anything. And now that I'm 30, I'm surprised at how much he's learned in 10 years. Right? So your perspective changed over time. But when I was in second grade, I had it figured. I knew what I was going to do. I knew. I grew up in the 70s. Even though I'm from Ohio, I love the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I knew I was going to play middle linebacker in the NFL for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, I could name Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris, but my favorite guy was Jack Lambert, who played middle linebacker for the Steelers, and I knew that's what I was going to do. But you can see the good Lord had other designs, because I'm 5'7.5" on a good day. So I had to focus on the sport of wrestling, and I had a coach, my old coach, had a line. He said, "There are moments of magnitude in everyone's life. Moments that are important. Day you're married, right? Day your kids were born. Day you accomplished something that was worthwhile, some goal you had. Moments of significance, moments of magnitude. I believe that can apply in a broader context. There are moments of real significance, moments of real magnitude for a country. And I think we're at one of those. Because where today's left wants to take us is a scary place. It is really scary. Not just the election issue, of course, but everything else. Think about the attacks on freedom you see from the cancel culture mob online and from the mob in the streets. And understand this. The mob doesn't just stop with conservatives and Republicans. The mob they just keep going until they burn it all down and tear it all down. I'm talking the mob online. I mean, you think about what we've seen in sports. I've shared this now a couple times, but you think about what we've seen from the cancel culture mob just in the sports world. Drew Brees said we should stand for the national anthem, which we all just did, right, for the Pledge of Allegiance. Drew Brees says you should do that. Good man, Drew Brees gets attacked. James Harden wears a simple mask that says "Back the Blue." He gets harassed for wearing that mask. The best example is Mike Gundy, football coach at Oklahoma State. You follow this story? Mike Gundy goes fishing with his kids, wears a One American News t-shirt, gets attacked. Think about it. Think about it. In the greatest nation ever, United States of America, where we have a First Amendment, where we have a Bill of Rights, a Constitution, where we have liberty, Mike Gundy almost loses his job for fishing in the wrong shirt. In America, that happened. And understand, the mob is doing exactly what the Democrat leaders have told him to do. You remember 2.5 years ago, Maxine Waters, when she did that first rant out in California? Remember that? What'd she say? She had that crowd of people around. She said, if you see someone from the Trump administration, what are you supposed to do? You push back on them, you create a crowd, you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
Right.
Stop and think about that. Member of the United States Congress telling her constituents to tell other American citizens they're not welcome in this great country. So the mob is doing exactly what leaders in the Democrat Party, leaders on the far left are now saying they should do. That's what's at stake, and that's why it's so important. So important. Some days you wonder, right? How does she keep getting elected? So it's important we do all we can over the next few weeks to make sure the United States Senate stays in Republican hands. If they don't, I mean, if God forbid, if the Democrats take over, I said earlier, they're gonna take your tax, take your money, they're gonna take your guns. They're going to take away your private health insurance. They're going to take away your plastic drinking straws, right? They're going to take away your free. They'll never stop what they're going to come after. And we have to stand up and fight back. And I've shared this story now several times, but I think it captures what's special about this nation. Polly and I, my wife's over here somewhere. Polly's right back here. Polly and I, so we live. You get on 75 and just keep driving north. You get into Ohio, you get past Cincinnati, Dayton, and we live about 30 miles north of Dayton. We have some good friends in the Dayton area. This is a few years ago, who called us up. It's summertime, and they said, can you guys come down for dinner? We said, yeah, we're free that evening. We'd love to come down for dinner. They said, well, before we go to dinner, we're going to, we'd like to tour the Wright brothers' home. And we said, oh, great, we love that. You know, the house that we raised our 4 kids in was built in 1837. We like old homes and all the neat things about them and history and everything. We said, sure, we'd love to see their home and learn about these guys, these amazing Americans. So you go down and you get there to the front door and you pay the person from the Historical Society, I think $5, and they take you on this tour. Couple-hour tour, and you learn all kinds of neat things about these amazing Americans. And they were fascinating guys. You know, started off making bicycles, had the bicycle shop, and all the other things they tinkered around with and invented, and just special guys. And you go all through it, and the last room on the tour is one of the brothers' bedrooms. Forget which brother, but one of the brothers' bedrooms. They tell you a few more things, and then they literally end the tour by showing you 2 pictures. First picture they hold up. First picture they hold up was that very first flight, 1903, Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, in this thing they called a plane, right? And they show you that picture, and the first thing you ask yourself is, how'd that thing ever get off the ground? And the truth is, it barely did. Flew like 100 and some feet, got like 10, 12 foot off the ground, and you wonder, you look at it and you say, that's a plane, that's some contraption, some jalopy of a thing they put together. But they show you that picture, and you remember that from school, and you're like, okay, I remember learning that in junior high or whenever they teach you that in school. They put that down, and then they hold up a second picture. 44 years later, Chuck Yeager breaking the sound barrier. And I was like, wow, that I didn't know. That I did know. I must not have been paying attention that day in school. I didn't know that. And they show you that picture, and you're like, that's amazing. And Chuck Yeager, who just passed away a week ago, amazing American. They show you that picture, and you're like, wow. In 44 years, we go from 2 guys flying 100 feet in this thing they call plane, to 44 years later, another great American breaks the sound barrier. And they put that down. And Polly and I are walking out the room, walking out that door, and as we're walking out, all of a sudden I was thinking, well, wait a minute, why'd they stop there? I represent Wapakoneta, Ohio, Auglaize County, hometown of Neil Armstrong. And I thought, think about it. Step back and think about it for a second. In 66 years, 2 guys go from flying 100 feet in this thing they call it a plane. 66 years later, one lifetime, another great American steps on the moon. It is an amazing country, and it is worth doing anything and everything we can to preserve the institutions, the principles, and the values that allow that to happen in one lifetime. That's what this is all about in the end. That is why it is so important. So important you do everything you can to help Kelly, help David, make sure they stay in the United States Senate, make sure they preserve all those good things that President Trump has done in his first term, that they preserve and protect those things. That's what's at stake. So God bless you all. Merry Christmas.